first before we get into that, because I know at least 2 or 3 of us have seen the film.
Okay, I'm just going to say this, Tom. This is the first time that I can recall that they actually canceled my ticket for the early screening.
Yeah, and I kept telling Andre this, even though he says in the video they started canceling shows on Friday. I kept telling him, a couple of you guys got your shows canceled Thursday night.
Yep, I got my ticket refunded because they canceled the show. I was like, come on.
So they were already canceling shows after the first showing, or they weren't getting enough tickets sold to sustain the shows that they had.
Honestly, it was just going to be me and one other person the last time I'd checked on the theater.
I wouldn't be surprised.
We're going to watch it. So, look, it came down to nobody wanted this movie, right? There was no audience for this movie. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. You know, by everybody's estimation, I can't agree that it had redeeming value, but that's a whole other matter. What I'll say is the numbers speak for themselves, and we'll get there because we can't even start off with it in the top 5. You got
look what came back at the top there.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine back up on top. 5th weekend that it's been at number 1, over $577 million total gross domestic reach, and it still stayed on top despite losing 120 more theaters. So it's already, fallen out of its original release size. But internationally, the numbers are big. You got 1.2 billion. This is going to reach that 1.3 billion mark that I thought it would fall into, but barely before it leaves theaters. And look, this is the best. This is the best R-rated film ever across the board. It actually performed a little bit better internationally than I anticipated. And
I think it might hang on longer than you think, even though it will have competition with Beetlejuice. But
yeah, but not much. I just think people stopped going to theaters, which we'll get into at the very end of this conversation. But the second place thing is not surprising, but at the same time is surprising because Alien Romulus stuck it out, stayed in second place, earned another 16 million, putting it at 72 domestic, which gets it real close to the budget. Although really the film, because of the tax rebates involved, really only cost them 50 million to produce because it was done in Hungary.
No, Junior.
Yeah, at a legendary, well-regarded location, Origo Studios, they did a lot of things there. But it's at 225 million. It is about to make a profit, believe it or not. In fact, it might already be in profit now.
I absolutely believe that it will be in profits, and I'm very happy for them. And I didn't love the movie. It's gonna take me some time to reconcile it because I didn't hate it because of the movie itself, but because of the association with Prometheus and with Alien Covenant. Now, I can get over that, but I have to wonder, is Disney happy with these results? Because I have to be honest, to me, these numbers for Alien Romulus are relatively middling. Because honestly, we know that this movie right here, Alien Romulus, it is the second highest opening Alien movie ever, unadjusted for inflation. Attendance-wise, it's doing the same thing as Alien Covenant. It's performing right in line with Alien Covenant.
Which is exactly good.
With the only difference is that it's holding up better in its second weekend drop than did Alien Covenant, which I think is a testament to just how badly Alien Covenant was edited. I've actually done a fun experiment the last couple of weeks because I hated Prometheus upon release. I hated Covenant upon release. and then I rewatched them now, but I rewatched fan-edited extended versions, which have reincorporated all of the deleted scenes back into the movie. These are the deleted scenes that never ever should have been cut, and I've watched the scenes that were actually taken out of the movie and put on YouTube. You know what happened then? The movies actually became pretty decent. Unbelievably, they became pretty decent. Because of that, I am now better able to reconciliate those movies with the rest of the franchise. But so I'm like, why the hell haven't they re-edited these movies and put out some kind of extended cuts?
Because it's the only versions of his movies that he hasn't done it yet too, and I still don't think it'll fix it because fundamentally I think they're bad.
They
Well, I
need
still
more
think
than-
I think they're bad fundamentally still at the core just because of what they represent. But that's just me.
Yeah, and that's fine. But still, if there's any Ridley Scott movies that need different versions, it's Prometheus and Covenant. And as for Romulus, I have to be curious though. Do you guys think that Disney will proceed with more Alien movies? Because I feel like they're big franchise movies this year.
Well,
Alien is their least performing one. And they don't
Yeah.
have any other transmedia thing. There's no parks or anything like that. For everything else, you have the parks. You can have, but you don't have like Alien Land in Disney World.
You actually had an extraterrestrial attraction that was kind of loosely based on Alien that they couldn't call Alien back in the 90s, actually in Disney World. And I think in Disneyland as well, but they converted that to a Stitch attraction, and then they just like tore all the insides out. But
I think it would be great if they had a haunted house section. They have the haunted mansion. Wouldn't it be great if Disney After Dark sort of built this more geared towards teens and up, and it was all the scary stuff that?
Well, if they were smart, they'd compete with Universal and do something like that. Yeah, they'd take all their more adult horror franchises that they do have and do like Halloween nights and stuff like that. But
to Andre's point, the fan edits, I want to see those because I liked the assembly cut of Alien 3. I didn't like.
Oh, I'll hook you up with it. No problem.
Okay, yeah, I'd like.
You still can't cut out the fact that the blue people destroyed everything. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I really don't see how you can fix that. And Covenant, regardless of the two scenes, it's still just a shitty remake of the original film. At the end of the day,
wow,
just like this is from what it sounds
what Romulus
like,
is, right?
A little bit better. Maybe, but
look. I mean,
dare I say it had a more competent director?
Yeah.
Oh,
Fetty Alvarez. Fired. Well, he did a good job. They used practical sets, practical effects. Even the puppeteering of the alien itself was amazing. They used a physical actor for the Offspring, a 7-foot+ basketball player to play that role. I mean,
let's get past Alien anyway.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. It's easy for me to dwell on it because it performed it almost as well as obviously Deadpool and Wolverine, but it ends with us, makes it into its third week, and it does so
actually
pretty well.
I was going to say that's if you want to get real technical about it, that's horrible that it fell behind Deadpool and Wolverine in its second week, and that's kind of what Andre's saying is. At best, this is performing middling. So yeah.
I would have, except I would have expected it to fall off this much. And
I wouldn't have. I would have expected to hang on to the first place for another weekend or two until Beetlejuice came out. Although I did predict this was going to happen.
Yeah, I saw this coming too. And one thing I will say, and most people don't realize, is this will be after this week the highest recorded horror film for IMAX as of this week. It will eclipse any other competition for IMAX screens.
If you consider it a horror film, I guess.
I don't know what else you'd call it.
I used to call it sci-fi, but whatever.
Well,
and then it ends with us as hanging in there.
Yeah,
which is nice for Blake, I guess.
Yeah, it is. But look, these two people did not get along, and this is set up for sequels, believe it or not. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but. Good luck to them. It did fall off 51%. It's going to continue to drop. This, at the end of the day, made Sony money, and that's all that matters, I guess, at this point. But 11 million is disappointing. Speaking of disappointing, Amazon thought they could buy a studio and become a studio. Boy, are they wrong. Blink Twice opened at 7 million in fourth place with, what is that? Channing Tatum.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Gambit himself.
Yeah, let me tell you, that's not working out very well. And you were a studio executive, Paul. Do you think Amazon successfully become a studio?
I was a sitcom exec. Please do not accuse me of being.
I don't think they really give a shit about this. I think Amazon's the only ones who's still sticking with the whole idea that putting these movies in theaters is basically just advertising for them when they hit the streaming service.
That's possible.
At the end of the day.
I
really do. And they're not going to quit because that's why they bought MGM, right?
Yeah, but it'd be stupid to sequester the MGM brand to streaming. It's not how we view it.
Which is, I don't think that they're doing. That's what I'm saying. Is
this is if they were smart, they'd actually go MGM Amazon as opposed to the other way around and stop waving their dicks around.
Well,
No, I don't disagree with you there, but I mean, Blink Twice basically being in theaters, they basically got paid to advertise it.
Well, Paul, I look forward to
yeah.
I look forward to your conversation with Jeff Bezos and tell him to get his ego out of the way. I feel like that's a phone call. That's a phone call I want to hear. I'm just saying.
Jeff, listen to me.
Yeah, he did really well setting up this, structured monopoly.
What strikes me as weird before we get to the obvious one that we're going to talk about this morning is you've got Despicable Me 2 or 4, sorry, beating Inside Out 2, which Despicable Me 4 is actually on video on demand already.
Yep.
So Inside Out 2 is falling off a bit.
Yep.
And both of those kids' films got beat by an anniversary release
of Coraline.
Yeah. That stuck out to me a little bit.
Yeah, but look, I mean, we could talk about The Forge, which nobody cared about. You could talk about Twisters, which is slowly dying. And you could talk about that Fathom release, right, of Coraline, the anniversary. But you have to get to number 8 before a movie that opened in theaters, in the midst of controversy.
Well, is there anything else that I have to say about anything else before we get to The Crow?
No. What you want to say something about? Okay. What do you have to say about The Forge?
Well, I just figured, Forge I could care less about. Yeah. I just think it's kind of interesting that Coraline, a film that is celebrating an anniversary, it's the 2004 film or whatever from Tim Burton and the director of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And it did $5 million in
its second week.
Forget about second week. Also, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Well, and the reason I want to bring this up is because this goes to the reason we keep saying re-release films. You know what sucks? I tried to find how much The Crow re-release made this year earlier in May when it had a 2-day re-release. I couldn't find the numbers.
Really?
I'm almost curious if it did better than the remake did.
I think the networks need to re-release classic shows and put them out a week at a time on that specific date as if they were run for the first time. I don't know why the networks don't do that.
They really should.
I don't need to see American Ninja fucking Warriors one more time.
They kind of do with those new live streaming channels. You're basically I mean, why marathon a lot of shows, but
but why should they get the benefit of it? But I mean, I'm saying anyway. That's another topic. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you, and I say they should, but as far as this goes, okay, so Crow. But I just thought Coraline was kind of important to bring up because as we bring up time and time again, if the studios would release some of these films like they used to, they might actually benefit from it. And I think that's a good example.
The other thing that is important to mention is that this is really the first time I've seen a slate that kind of looks like something that if I went to a cinema, I'd go, oh, okay, what do I want to watch? They have been so bereft of product that this suddenly felt like a cinema week.
And I guess Inside Out 2 did hit video on demand last week, but still Despicable Me 4 has been there longer. But
it's still something that you have a choice to,
But an old kids movie still beat it in its second week. It was the point. Yeah.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There, you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe, and join us.